you guys were forced into some different situations last week with guys not being available, obviously Keon not being able to return punts. Were you guys encouraging Ja'Kai to be cautious, or does he need, on some of those, could he have come up and maybe helped prevent some of the yardage?
You know, I think, well, for one, going into it, I thought Ja'Kai had a really good week of practice heading into it. You know, we always have a depth that we're going to set our punt returners at. We went going into last week. We're going to set them 42 yards deep, and that's just based off of what the punter had done throughout the course of the season. And you know, the first couple were hit significantly short of that 42-yard mark. And the one thing we did discuss with him was, if you're not comfortable, don't go get it. You know, that was not the time, place, or situation that you had to do anything heroic. You know, so I understood the judgment on some of them. You know, and it's one of those things that the more opportunities he has, probably the more confident he's going to be in those situations. You know, it's hard to get your first game reps in that situation, being back there as a punt returner, but you know, I thought he did a pretty good job. You know, I thought he handled the situation with poise, and he'll be better as he gets more experience going forward.
Brendan?
Coach Norvell earlier brought up a few of the true freshmen who were helping out on kickoff coverage. I guess, what have you seen from them on how they impacted the unit positively?
Well, you know, as you get in, you know, and I think I said this early in the year, once you get kind of into the year and you get into your depth a little bit, it's really important that when you have a talented group of freshmen like we do, that you really work to develop them and they start playing roles, especially on special teams. You know, there was, you know, I'm assuming the play coach was referencing was kickoff coverage, and so that was Donnie, that was Blake, that was Justin Cryer, you know, all kind of next to each other, the 4, 5, and 6. And they just did a great job going down and covering. Fundamentally, I think they've really started to gain a great understanding of what we're asking them to do. We've been fortunate to be able to play them in the same spots, essentially executing the same responsibilities for several weeks in a row now. And I think you just see that confidence that they're playing faster. They believe in their ability to go do it, and their athleticism is showing. They're really good players.
For a game without, you know, you're playing without 2 of your top receivers who are starters, and 4 receivers overall. How big was it for just Alex's game to, you know, pin him deep a couple times on the field? How important was he in that game, in a closer game on the road?
Well, yeah, no, I think, you know, anytime you're on the road or you're playing a team that is good defensively, you know, you want to try to set up as many good situations for your offense, and the way you do that is by controlling field position. And you know, I thought Alex did a good job a couple different times where we had opportunities to put him inside the 20, or in one case inside the 10. We were probably about 2 or 3 inches away from having one inside the 1. You know, I thought the effort was really good down there, getting down there to cover. But you know, the field position battle is always going to be a critical part of it, especially when you know, you are short a few pieces and you want to be able to put your offense in the best situations that you possibly can.
Okay.
You talked about that one punt, it was a touchback, but I mean, second straight week where he had a punt inside the 5 that seemed almost, I mean, defy the laws of physics kind of. How do you work with the punter? How do you encourage a punter to work on kind of the intricacies of punting with stuff like that? Is it backspin, things like that? And how far has Alex come in his knowledge of that type of stuff?
I think Alex has come a really long way in terms of his understanding of ball control and game situation. I can't stand here and take any credit for any of that, though. I mean, like, that's just something like he has an innate feel for. It's one of the advantages of having the Aussie style punter, because of his background playing Australian rules football. Like, his ability to control the ball, put a little bit different spin on it. I don't know if you noticed the one that went out at the 9. You know, he kind of, you know, that was on purpose that he kind of hit it, like, you know, sideways, so it had that spin on it. You know, that's all him, and that's stuff that he works on in the off season, stuff that he works on during practice. And I trust him to use his judgment on when the situation applies for him to go do, you know, execute whatever kick he thinks is best. And he'll ask. He'll say, "Hey, coach, you know, we're at the 50. What do you think here?" And I'll say, "Hey, man, keep it out of the end zone, inside the 10, wherever you feel best. Let's do it." And he'll go out and he'll do it.
Go ahead.
They seem to have a pretty electric kick returner. Miami does. I know he ran one back against A&M. He had a big one the other week. Again, I assume that doesn't change what you guys do. You always want to be good on kick coverage, but a little more focus to detail when it comes to a guy that's proven he can change a game with his speed, and if he gets a crack or two, you might not catch him.
Yeah, I don't think as a coach your attention to detail changes. It shouldn't, and I don't think our players' attention to detail really changes. What they might notice, or they will notice, and what they will see as we get into the game prep is some of the success they've had on their kickoff return unit, and so that's really a challenge. I think our guys are going to take that as a challenge that we feel we have a lot of pride and think we're pretty good at kickoff cover. Obviously, they have a lot of, I'm sure, pride and feel like they're pretty good at their kickoff return game, and then it's going to be an opportunity to go out there and go put it on display. So I think our guys will be excited for the challenge, but I don't think our attention to detail or our focus on a particular unit changes from week to week, because that's part of, I think, what makes this program successful is that, it's always about being your best regardless of situation.
Coach, on Patrick Payton's 2 penalties, what did you see from them, and what did you tell him after he came back to the sideline?
Well, I mean, in both situations were similar. The hands got high, and that's going to be especially on a quarterback. And for the one, he had the batted ball early in the game, and then the penalty that was when he came down the quarterback. Just you can't follow through. If you're going to go hand up to try to get your hands in throw lanes, you just can't come down and through on a quarterback's head. And the one on the tight end is just some awareness from the standpoint of he was long arm rushing him. His hand started on the jersey and kind of slipped up to the face. And when that happens, you just got to be able to replace it back down. Some of those things, the hands in the face and some of that stuff, that could happen. You just got to replace your hand back down, and then we just got to be smart on our follow through, especially on a quarterback in the pocket.
In the transfer portal era, where you've got players that coming from different schools in different parts of the country, is there any education about like a rivalry like this, or do guys just know because it's Florida State Miami?
I think it's probably a combination of both. I think you bring up an interesting point with a lot of guys who are going to be kind of going through this for the first time. But coach addresses it a little bit. That was something obviously on Sunday that we talked about some. I think they will get the feel of it as we go. We don't spend a whole lot of time kind of going through all the history and stuff, but we do have a tremendous amount of respect for the history of this game and what it is. But I think those guys who are going to be going through it for the first time, they'll feel it for sure on Saturday night, because there is a great feel to this game, and it's one that I'm honored to have an opportunity to be part of.
Anything else? Okay.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the week.